Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Living Better with Joe and Kat. This is episode number 13 of the podcast, and in today's episode, we're going to title it Our Adventures During Stay-at-Home Order. How's it going, Joe and Kat? What's up?
Going good for me. How about you?
It's going great.
All right, good to hear, good to hear. All right.
Yeah,
What do you-
upbeat. Well, my favorite thing is the weather's turning around.
Yeah, even during
We're
these...
starting to have some decent days, and I know that that's played into what we've all been up to.
All right, we'll start off. What have you been up to, Joe?
Like Kat said, just enjoying the 70-degree weather. Out building on the greenhouse and taking scooter rides and yada yada.
Well, how about you tell us a little bit more about your greenhouse? I've been kind of interested in that. I know you've been doing a project down there. I came down and worked with you a little bit. How about we tell our listeners a little bit what we're doing?
We are building an outdoor greenhouse with no cover.
Oh,
It is a
it's more like a
12
garden. Okay.
Yes. Anyhow,
We-
you want to take the lead on that one now?
oh my God. Overall being silly. Come on. Anyway. God, stop it. You guys.
Oh, goodness. This is what happens when we're told to stay home.
Oh, yeah, this is what happens in quarantine. We get a little bit
Yeah.
kooky.
Yeah,
So
more than a
we've
little
been
bit
out. We've
kooky.
been out doing a garden. Okay.
We've been out?
And we do still have one greenhouse. Let's clarify.
Oh, we do.
Yes. So
Yeah.
we have one greenhouse. So we
Well,
last
it's not a
year,
complete greenhouse because it don't have plastic on
True.
it. Right?
Last year.
So you really
we
can't
had-
call it a greenhouse.
Okay, Joe. We have a hoop house.
Come on, Steve.
Anyway, we're this year. Tell me what we're gonna do. We're gonna have
A
what?
hoop house. How big is the hoop house?
I
Hoopy,
don't-
hoopy, hoopy.
Well, this is a little bit off track from our normal serious podcast.
Well, this is what
I
happens.
I hope.
This is what
I hope
happens
to
when we
our
get
listeners you
quarantined,
enjoy.
right?
This is what happens.
This is
So-
what happens.
So we
Stir
have
crazy crap and giggles.
we have one greenhouse that we're keeping up, and what are we going to be growing in there?
Which one? The one that's open?
Not the garden,
Or the one that
Okay.
doesn't have
The
plastic on
greenhouse.
it?
Okay.
Joey.
Well, the greenhouse doesn't
Joey,
have plastic
not
on it.
the garden. The greenhouse.
Oh my
You
god.
guys, man. This is...
I guess the
you viewers
greenhouse-
see what we have to deal with here.
Can a greenhouse be considered a garden? I guess so. Like, what would be the
Why-
definition
why-
of
why
garden?
not?
Huh? It would just be like
a
where.
greenhouse is something that's covered, and it like helps hold the humidity
But
in.
okay, I fair
and it
enough.
also helps like build the ecosystem
So,
inside.
Is a garden inside a greenhouse considered a garden?
Why not?
I don't know. These are the dying questions of quarantine.
Anyhow, we
So-
are building a greenhouse that
In the-
doesn't require plastic over it.
In the footprint of Joey's old greenhouse, which is about 30 by
36 by 12.
Yeah.
it's
12
more
by
than
36.
12 feet, isn't it?
12 feet, 36 feet length.
Really?
Serious? I thought it was
Yeah.
wider than
I
that.
feel like it's 12. No, he's right. It's probably about that because mine's about what? What did you count mine off to?
Well,
Was
it's
it
about the same
13
too,
or
13, yeah.
something
just
like
about
that.
that over.
So for the
Yeah.
listeners, there were two greenhouses that were these dimensions, Joey's saying, sitting side by side.
One's
de-
cut down.
We decided to take one of them down, leave one of
Why-
them up.
Why did we take one of them down?
Well, tell
Because-
us.
I don't know.
Is this your project? I want to hear. Why did we take the fence down, or why did we take one of the greenhouses down? What are we doing in the footprint of your old greenhouse?
We're doing a greenhouse that doesn't
A
require
garden.
A
plastic.
garden.
It's a garden.
Okay, I'm gonna describe it because Joe's having a little trouble here.
Kathy didn't like the greenhouse that we had because it was kind of crappy looking.
It was a hoop house. So
we-
for anyone listening, just
We've had
imagine
it
a
back
hoop
there
house.
for 4 or 5 years, and
It looked like a skeleton
she
in the
wanted
backyard.
she
It was
wanted to have it
gross.
taken down, so I took it down.
So we took it down, and I'm going to describe what he's trying to describe here. Instead of having a hoop house there, we've put how tall were those? They were 10-foot
10
poles,
foot 4x4 treated, 2 foot in the ground,
Okay.
8 foot above ground.
and then we did So we put like those around the border, and we're going to be putting up what
And
chicken
concreted
wire.
them in.
We're going to put a runner at the top and a runner at the bottom, and for
And
the
a runner in the
audience,
middle.
and the audience don't know that it's 2x4s, treated 2x4s in between the 4x4 posts that have hardware that you stick the 2x4 in.
And don't forget to anybody listening and or anybody watching on our YouTube channel that you can go over and check out our channel here in about let's say a week, and you should see a video there with Joey
A video
and I
compilation building
getting this built up and kind of describing
building the non-greenhouse garden.
Yeah, describing what we're doing. Anyway, so we've been doing that. That's been a fun project the past couple days, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, still got more to go.
Oh, it's giving you guys some great father-son time outside in the good weather.
Well, it's something to do during quarantine or stay at home, whatever you want to call it. You know,
Right. I'm going to have to look up some extra canning so that for the vegetables that you guys are going to be growing, I can do some storage on them. Because, you know, when you've got like 8 bushels of beans, you can't eat them all at once. Unless you're
Well,
just going to give them away,
I would
which
like-
that's a good idea too. But we're going to have to look up how to can them.
I would like to plan out our growing this year, and you know, I've never done such thing, but plan it out to where we grow certain amounts of this, certain amounts of that, you know, based on our usage. What's the vegetable that you grew a lot last year that we didn't really eat too much of? I mean, that kale. You guys ate a lot of kale the first year he grew it, but the second year he grew it, there was a huge patch of kale that didn't get eaten
Swiss
up.
chard was
I
another one.
only grew kale one time, and that was last year. And Kathy wanted me to grow a lot. And I did
Some.
5.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot. And I ended up doing 5 rows of kales, and most of it went to the deer. So, anyhow, given
All
that, we
It
have...
went to the deer after fall when he took the plastic off the greenhouse.
Exactly.
And now that we have these tall fences, the
We don't have to
deer
worry
won't
about
be
the
able
deer.
to get in.
Well, unless
I
the
guess
deer...
he can prop the screen door open in the fall.
Yeah,
Perhaps.
just have them come on in and eat what's left of it.
That's not too
clean
hard
it
to
up.
take down a section of wire. Why not?
Yeah.
But you were also thinking, Kat, about putting some chickens in there in a season
Well,
or two.
I was thinking that on the top, since you're going to have a top rail all the way around, and you're doing cheaper quality wire instead of doing the nice, you know, like soldered hog wire style fence, since you're doing the less expensive chicken wire, which is good for keeping the rabbits out because we do have rabbits around here. I was thinking that going over the top, since you'd have a top rail, and making it like a little aviary, because that would keep the birds from flying in too, because the crows will fly into it and pick on the stuff too.
Awesome.
So I think you should, you know, also wire the top of it.
I think, depending on what plants we decide to grow out there, and we would need to refer to a botanist, Bo, if you're listening. Maybe you could give Joe a call and give us some advice here on this.
He
But
would tell you to
some
get a-
plants that are not going to get attacked by birds, that are going to be great for the outdoors, because these are going to be uncovered plants, you know? So we were talking about doing like our potatoes out there.
The
and
onions,
and squash, perhaps.
the squash, the
'Cause
cucumbers, because they spread out so much.
They need a lot of space, but on top of
and
that,
they also don't like being in the humid greenhouses.
and that's been the problem in the past few years, is that we've had airflow issue. Because in the first greenhouse, to listeners, once again, we had 2 at one point. One of them was for a lot of vegetables, and then the other one was for some herbalistic plants. And so, with that being said, in the first greenhouse,
it's legal in Oregon.
there was
you can just say
bad.
pot.
There was bad ventilation, and so I think that also led to some mold issues on like some of the squash you grew in previous years. So we're just learning as we go and as we try things. But moving those outdoors, I think, will be beneficial.
Well, and I was thinking on the top, rather than putting netting up there, I could just put a couple of fake owls up there because the crows are scared of the owls.
I say you should just
So-
put chicken wire across the top. Just run it over the top, staple it.
Where's Maurice with his drones when we need him?
Yeah.
Just fly
Yeah.
the drones over the thing.
But see, I'm thinking that once we figure out that we can't grow a lot of stuff out in the garden, we can then turn it into a chicken area. And the hawks can't come down and get our chickens because it's been
You know
wired
what?
up on the top.
That didn't sound very optimistic for
No,
our
no, no,
garden.
no.
I think me and Joe are going to have a successful this year with
I
our
hope it's
team of
successful.
research here. I think the potatoes should be just fine. And same with the squash. And what else could we put out, you know?
Green beans did really well with those last year.
Those were better in the greenhouse when you say
They
that.
like it hot and moist.
Oh, very interesting.
Very
and there's
interesting.
the
Peas.
tomatoes we could put inside the greenhouse, perhaps.
Snow peas done real good.
Oh, yeah.
Tomatoes would definitely have to go inside the greenhouse.
I want to grow plenty of bell peppers,
Yeah.
but I'm assuming those would also probably be better in the
In the
greenhouse.
greenhouse where it's
Totally.
warmer. Yeah.
And getting zapped from the
Eggplant
cold.
did real well. My onions did really well. Cabbage sucked.
Hmm.
Cauliflower sucked.
This is what makes
Those are
life
cold
kind
weather
of fun.
plants,
Is we're gonna experiment a little bit here and find out what works best in
Yeah.
our area of
Yeah.
Oregon. You
I
know.
agree.
So anyway, what about you, Kat? So we've been working on gardens and doing that stuff.
Well, I made a whole bunch of masks, and I mailed them over to our daughter in Eugene because she mailed me the products over here. And my challenge was finding the fusible interfacing and elastic that's a 1/4 inch wide. The wide elastic bends your ears forward, and it looks like you have Down syndrome, and they're not very secure on your face.
Down syndrome.
Sorry, I
Wow.
mean, I work in the medical field, and so that to me is like a telltale for
Is that
somebody
politically
with
Okay,
correct?
the
So,
extra 23rd
I
chromosome is that their ears fold forward at the top, and this elastic pulls your ears down, and it looks like
Okay. And to be completely honest,
Is
let's
this
be real.
politically correct
Joe,
saying
okay,
that?
I'm going to put it this way. Let's be real. We are describing this for listeners.
yeah.
And so if they could picture something we're trying to describe, you guys
Wow.
are horrible.
I'm not horrible. I'm not the one that said it.
Oh my gosh.
I just looked and went, wow.
Anyway, let's just to clarify with everybody listening, we have nothing against anybody
No.
with Down syndromes. We
No.
love everybody.
Absolutely not.
Everyone's beautiful.
We love everybody.
But that was the description with that. But they were a little bit short.
You have to have the more narrow elastic because the wide elastic pulls your ears forward, and I don't, I mean, I've got long hair, so my ears are covered, but I don't know if the boys wearing their ball caps want to wear the masks. And around here, along with the CDC, which is nationwide, we are being instructed to wear masks when we go anywhere in public. So like when we make our trips to the grocery stores or to wherever, we need to be wearing masks so that we aren't sharing our spit with other people, our droplets.
So PSA to everybody out there listening to make sure to wear your mask. And if, try to save a life by helping out like that. It's interesting, as I went to town, me and him went to town, me and Joe, and we went and were at Walmart. It seemed like maybe half the people had masks and half didn't.
I don't think it was even half. I
I
think
have
it
to
was
say that
maybe
probably
10 people I've seen that have masks on. But that's great,
probably a lot of people that aren't wearing them don't have them available. Maybe they don't have somebody that sews in their life. They're certainly not available for purchase. I went onto the Wish app and I ordered a bunch of, nicer masks than my homemade ones. And they're telling me that, they might get here by June. So that's, I guess, if the ships are allowed to leave China and dock and unload. So there's challenges. So I'm going to say that a lot of people that don't have masks probably aren't creative with a sewing machine.
You could get a
Perhaps you need
I've
to
seen
sew
a lot
some
of people.
and
I've seen
leave
a
them at
lot of
Walmart.
people
Well, I-
just using handkerchiefs.
Yeah, a handkerchief tied on like a bandana.
up.
Yeah, no, that works too. Or, like a scarf, But we're going to start getting into warmer weather, and people are not going to want to have scarves over their mouths.
Well, and I guess they have said what I heard on TV is that the virus probably will peter out for the summer months because it's hot, and there's a possibility it may come back in the fall. They don't know.
Well, the
So-
reason that it goes away technically during the summer months is because there's more UV, and the UV is a sterilizer. So, there's, like people that will take rugs out and wop on them and get the dirt knocked out of them and leave them out because the sunlight's a sterilizer. Sunlight is a great cleaner. So, and then people also are out and about more and not in tight spaces and homes. That's why you have seasonal flus and viruses. But anyway, I've got a little list of friends and family that I'm sewing for, and I need to get onto that because since I got my big little, order sent over to Eugene, I've kind of been relaxing and just doing my own thing and trying not to isolate too much.
Well, you got to isolate a little bit, just not from your family, because we're all here able
Yeah.
to hang out, which is nice. Well, that's good. Sounds like you've been pretty busy with that.
Well, a girlfriend sent me a picture of a mask that she seen that had penises, little bitty penises all over it. And they're different colors and shapes, and some are spurting, some aren't.
Oh,
and,
jeez. How vulgar
and it has
in
like
a way.
little sperms on it. The fabric, it's a cute little design. And she says that if anybody's close enough to her to identify that they're penises and not just some design, she's going to tell them they're standing too close to her and they need to step back.
There you go.
Very interesting.
There you go.
So I've got some penis design fabric coming to me. But I told her that the harder part to get is the fusible interfacing and the narrow elastic for the ears. So she's going to work on getting that to me, and I will be happy to sew it for her.
Oh, the things we do during a pandemic.
The things we do.
Jeez.
But speaking of that friend, I was able to do a video chat with the twins this week, and it was so fun because they're just lovely. They're almost 2, and they identify me, so they were smiling and happy to see me on the phone. And then their daddy, he's somebody that we play blackjack with, and he lost his money the last 2 times we played, so he's highly interested in coming back for revenge. He wants to come back and win his money.
Since
Don't
we're
blame
doing social distancing, we need to try to find like an online blackjack that we can play where we can all sign in on our phones or something and
Yeah.
still do blackjack
Like they
with
do
each
with
Maybe.
other.
concerts, everybody has
It's just
their own.
online gaming, but then we can get our money that
This
way
has
from
been
them.
hard because, I'm used to seeing, the circle of people that we love and adore. I'm used to seeing them regularly face to face. And so it's just not the same doing a video chat because I'm used to gobbling the cheeks on the little twins and giving them tickles and running up and down the halls with them and just being active with them. So that's kind of hard. And then, we're good friends with their parents, and, it's hard because we're not playing blackjack with Ty and Stacy and I, we just like to hang out. So, and, some other friends, the ones that we're getting the wood from and their wood cutting down, they're neighbors. But she works at the hospital. So I was, Ty was wanting to get together and play, but the friend of ours, she's been told that she's been exposed to the coronavirus like 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago. And she's of course not sick. But just because she's at the hospital, it does. I was pointing out to our friends that it might be a little concerning to mingle with them because I would feel horrible if the little girls got sick, even though they have a much higher likelihood of surviving it than any of us probably do. But I just would feel terrible to take something into their home. So, the stay-at-home orders, like they say, stay at home, save lives.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what we
you
need
gotta
to be
be
doing.
safe as you can.
Yeah.
It'll pass. Eventually it'll pass. So I guess they're already talking about opening up the economy. Is it May 1st? I think it's what they said. Yeah, May 1st.
It's wait and see. We're just going to have to wait and see.
Who
So
knows?
anyway, the boys have been working on scooters and motorcycles, getting them all ready to roll. Steven, he bought a motorcycle, so he's been out riding, and it's given Joey and I the itch to get out on our scooters and get the breeze on our skin and just ride around in the neighborhood for me, because I can ride over and see our friend that we're hauling wood from or whatever.
Yeah. And Steven, what did we do today?
Well, we went and rode scooters.
We
Joe,
went
didn't
rode
we?
scooters.
Well, wasn't that fun?
I thought it was.
That was something else.
Tell us,
We hit a lot of
tell us where you
places.
went and what you did.
Well, let's see. We left the house. We went down Shoshone, connected with Baker Road. No.
Good God.
Anyhow,
Just tell everyone where we live.
we went down to the old mill so Steven can pop a few wheelies on his bike on the crosswalks.
I mean,
and,
I can't fully pop wheelies yet.
It was still
I
pretty
mean,
good.
don't upsell me. But what I can do is put it in first gear and go over those speed bumps, and that just loads my suspension just enough
It gets the
that
front
I can
tire up.
pop the wheel up a little bit.
Yeah.
I just don't want to do what
mean
they
you
call.
can't pop wheelies? I have a video of
Okay.
you riding a wheelie
Listen,
on the beach.
I used to ride motorcycles a lot, and then I took a pretty big break from riding, and then I'm back to it. I mean, popping wheelies isn't as easy
well,
as
you're
I thought
older
it'd
and
be.
you're probably a
Well,
little more
I
cautious.
guess part of it is I was on sand doing that,
Yeah.
and now
Little
I'm
softer.
on asphalt, so I'm like, one's a little soft and gritty, and one is like sandpaper times 10 on your leg. So
well, and
and
if
I don't
want
wanna
to
break my
eat
new
it
bike.
on the beach, you're not going to be hitting curbs or trees or
I mean,
cars
I'm
or
not.
people.
Okay, just to clarify, we were in an area
Where there
that
was no
it was.
people.
We were not on a public road by any means. We were like more like going through the parking lot
However-
No,
of
but
a deserted place.
what I-
However, going around the circles, I did notice you tried to cut me off a couple of times by just going over the circle instead of going around the circle.
No, okay. So once again, let's go ahead and describe
3 or
this
4
to
times
listeners.
at least.
We have what are called roundabouts. These are very common in Europe, but they're also very common in our town. And so they have like a lip that most cars you just drive around the roundabout. And there's a lip there that has a flat edge that you can like drive up for semis that are like coming through with big trailers,
need
right?
it. They need
Because
it.
they need that extra
and
room.
it's bricked up. It's appropriately made for the semis.
So there's like no traffic in town right now. Our town is like empty. When we were going through these areas, not all areas are like
I
this
was
in
going to
town.
say, we passed by Walmart and they were
Walmart was a
freaking
different
busy.
story.
Walmart brings them out.
People are still buying food, but as we went through the roundabouts, I would pop up. I would go through the center where the semi trucks go, and there's a ledge, and it's just big enough that when I went through the other side, if I put in second gear and I pushed down on the suspension and throttled up, as I came off the lip, my back wheel would catch, and I could pop a wheelie a little bit.
All right.
So that was fun. It was enjoyable. It's just enjoying my new bike.
But we hit a lot of places.
We
went over
we
the
drove
west
around.
side.
Yeah, we
We
went
went
in. We drove around
We
downtown.
went to go, you know, where I wanted to take Mom to go to, take her out on a picnic. Don't know that that's
Well, that's
gonna-
why I was telling you we could go to the park
yeah.
and go check it out. And so me and Joe just went through and checked
Great
out the
park.
park. And
Yeah.
there was cops down there keeping people socially distanced from each other. Well, groups of people, shall I say? There was still groups of 2 and 3s and
They were
families.
they were just doing their own thing. No, I don't think
But-
that they were trying to.
I don't think they weren't giving anybody trouble
Yeah.
necessarily, but they were definitely out there keeping an eye on everybody.
So, Stephen, since you were out riding your motorcycle, what he has is an adventure bike. It can ride on the street. It also can ride onto trails. So, tell us what happened when you went out with another friend.
Oh, she wants me to tell you guys about one of my buddies I ran into. Well, if he's listening, I'll keep his name out because I'm a
No
friend.
names.
I'm a friend. Not that I approve about what I'm going to discuss here, but I was out riding my motorcycle and I saw this car and it looked familiar, and it was a buddy I hadn't seen for years. And we don't really hang out anymore because we're different.
We have gone different
we
directions.
grew up and went different ways in life. And
But it was good to see him.
it was good, and so we were out, and I guess we got out of his car, and it was good to see him. He said, "Oh, how's it going?"
Where were you at?
whatnot.
Describe where you were
We're
at.
out. We're out in this wooded area, just out in the middle of nowhere.
Away from town.
And he's like, "Yeah, how's it going, man?" Blah, blah, blah. He's like, "What are you out here doing?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm just out and drinking and hanging out here." And he pulls a flask
driving.
out of his pocket. And I mean, I don't drink. I am not a drinker really. Occasionally,
Right.
But like, it wasn't a fifth. But it was like a smaller container. There might be
Was it a
somebody.
flask?
It was bigger than a flask, like a personal size flask. You'd see
Uh-huh.
like a ship captain drink or something, right?
Or a guy at a wedding.
Uh,
He's got it tucked away.
Yeah, it was just like it was like a quarter. If that's such a thing, it was probably like a quarter
Half
of a
of
fifth.
half of a fifth.
A quarter of a fifth. I don't know.
Okay,
Who knows?
whatever.
Anyway, a lot of alcohol. Let's just put it this way: he probably drank 10 shots out of this thing, or maybe 5 shots, maybe 7 shots. Who knows? Too many shots, and was just out driving around. And then my buddy that was also with me, he popped open a beer,
A
and
separate friend.
and he's like, and the other guy was like, "Hey, bud, you got another one of those?" And so they were, drinking their beers and stuff. And once again,
And let's say that one of these guys, he lives out in the woods, so
You know.
he's like close to home.
well, one of the anyway, we were just out in the woods, non-public roads, just chilling out. And once again, I still don't condone the whole drinking and driving,
I
even
don't
if you're
either.
on like not public roads, because like I'm out there sober on my motorcycle. And like getting hit by a drunk driver on
You
a
get pretty offended
back
by
road in the
people that drink
forest,
and
that
drive.
would be kind
Yeah.
of crappy. Anyway, let's get on. So he brought out the next thing I know, he brought out his gun.
So he's
And
drinking and he has a gun.
He's pounded down 2 beers at this point, and probably the 5, 10 shots, whatever. And he tossed the beer can down and it's like 4 feet in front of him, and he just starts unloading his mag on this thing. Bam, 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 bam. He misses most of the shots, once again, about 4
I
feet
guess
in
that's a
front
good
of
thing.
him.
If you need to run, you can run in this S shape so that he can't hit you.
I suppose so, but he hit a few. I wouldn't want to be 4 feet away from him again.
No.
Anyway, once again, but he just missed a few shots. But I guess as I was telling the story to my mom earlier,
It triggered me to think about this video of this drunk guy in Oregon.
Hey, we're gonna go ahead and just pull it up for you guys, so
Yeah.
you can. We'll all watch it along here in the studio.
And I'll
and
describe to you.
you can-
So what's
you
it
can-
called? Drunk guy with a gun?
I mean, they can watch it and get the description.
Yeah.
But here it is, and yeah, for the listeners, we'll describe right after for them. But here, we'll pull it up. Yeah, and I was a drunk guy with a gun. Fails, right?
So here's this like skinny, white,
You're
blonde-headed
way
kid. He
too
just
drunk
threw his
to use a
beer after
shotgun.
he drank it into the fire, and he's holding a shotgun.
Just set it down. You're too drunk.
He's standing in his underwear, drunk in the woods.
And he looks
Why are
definitely
you
pretty
using a
intoxicated
knife?
to be
He
handling a
does.
gun.
He's trying to do something with a knife. Then he shoots the gun, and it knocks him off his balance, and he goes tumbling backwards down a hill.
Wow.
So as
Jeez.
Steven's telling me about this encounter with somebody from his past out in the woods, it triggered me to think about this video. And I think Tosh.0 did a total breakdown on it. It's a crack up. So if you guys want to laugh at something of somebody being really dumb, it's about drinking in the woods with a gun.
And once again, we don't condone guns and alcohol.
No,
They
no,
do
no.
not. They very, 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 very rarely work well together. So
Especially when you have a gun.
that and drinking and driving is not good. So
Nope.
PSA to everybody: make
drink
sure
and
to
drive.
wear your face mask and stay
Sober.
home.
Yeah,
Stay sober.
yeah. Well, stay home
Yeah.
as best you can if you're going to get out safely. So Joey and we have got a big project ahead of us this weekend with our friends that are cutting down the trees on their lot. I'm going to be probably watching Joey work a lot tomorrow. I
Well,
can't
it's okay.
help out much because my elbows are hurt.
What are
But
you guys doing tomorrow?
Loading wood.
we're going to be over at our
Getting some
friend's
free
house
wood.
hauling wood because they're cutting down a bunch of trees. They've hired a tree guy that climbs up the tree and he saws it off in like 8-10 foot chunks and it just falls to the ground. He limbs it as he climbs up, which makes it nice for cutting it into chunks. But then we're hauling it over to our place because we have a little wood processing place in the back with our hydraulic wood splitter. And then we're since we're getting such a large quantity of wood from our friends, we're gonna have to
Split it up.
split it and stack
Stack
it.
Are they cutting it in sections that will fit inside your guys' fireplace?
Yeah, we're cutting it like
Yeah,
16
yeah.
inches long,
I-
so that way it's.
Because I know some of the wood that we had previously, I don't remember where you guys got it from, but it was some of the pieces wouldn't fit in your.
They
when
were
I came
too
over,
long.
They were too
It was
long.
what Tom brought back when he went out to clean or cut the dead trees. Some
Yeah.
of the pieces were a little bit long. They needed to be
They don't
cut.
fit in the fireplace, so
So I
that's
just get the chainsaw and
so
cut
Joey
them in
gets
half.
his saw out and he cuts them, makes them
So-
shorter.
All right, cool. Well, it sounds like you guys have a busy weekend ahead of you.
Yeah, it sounds like there'll be a lot of.
work.
Yeah, I will be the camp cook probably. I'll be making food so that all the people that are working hard, like our friends and Joey, I'll be able to feed them.
Yeah.
And we have been making some really good home cooked meals. I guess that's a good thing too with the stay at home orders. I made pork chops, sous vide pork chops the other night, which were really yummy.
Very
and then
good.
last night I mixed up some tuna fish and we had grilled tuna fish sandwiches. And tonight I made a quesadilla with the leftover tuna fish, which was incredible. So anyway, I guess we'll,
All's good.
yeah, you got to exercise your cooking creativity.
And we're supposed to get beautiful weather for the next 2 weeks, so that'll be nice.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get the scooters out and go ride scooters.
Well, anyway, I just want to say hello to my brother Bear in Oklahoma. Hope you're listening. And I'm about ready to wrap this up. How about you guys?
Yeah, I think we've talked about just about everything.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, if you guys want to find us on Living Better with Joe and Kat, we're on YouTube on that channel. And then we're also on Apple Podcast and Google Podcast. And Joey and Steven are working to put together a Man Monday video of the non-greenhouse garden that we're building in the yard.
Non-greenhouse garden.
And I may do a little tutorial on how to sew a mask, so that way I guess people with a sewing machine, if they
That's probably
need
a
some
good idea.
ideas on how I'm making them.
For all those women out there that have sewing machines.
Or men.
Men
Or
too.
men,
There's
yeah,
plenty of men that
make
sew.
their-
Actually, some of the best sewers are men. So anyway,
I wouldn't be one of those.
I just want to remind you guys that we're all trying to live better with love, peace, and happiness. And take care until next week.
Be safe.
Bye.